Okay, so we are looking at this quadratic, and we are asked to figure out what this number would be in order to complete the square. So like to complete the square, what is C, right? What does that number have to be? So to complete the square, what does C have to be? Well, there's two different ways to think about this. One is sort of with just an algorithm, which is the steps for how to do it. And that C value is your B split in half and then multiplied by itself, right? Whatever that number is, divided by 2, and then multiply it by itself. So if I do it that way, I take my negative 19, and then I split it in half. And unfortunately, this is an odd number, so it's not going to go in there evenly, but that's okay. We'll get a decimal and we'll deal with it. So I'm going to do 19 divided by 2, or negative 19, excuse me. Divide that by 2. And then I just need to square that number. So I can just do negative 9.5 and I can square it. Make sure that if you're using a calculator here that you include that negative in the parentheses. So that's going to give me 90.25. And so that's the value that I'm looking here. My C value is going to be 90.25. So that's the answer. And that's if I follow just sort of the standard, the algorithm, the steps for doing it. We can also think about this a little bit more conceptually, and I'll show you that here. So I'll just slide this up. And we think about quite literally building a square. So we spent some time in class using area model tiles. And these x squared were this guy, and the x pieces were these long blocks, right? And so we tried to complete the square, in this case, by building with a single x squared. So I'll kind of draw that out here. I'll put an x squared here. And then we would take our 19 blocks and we would split them in half. And we would put half going this way and half going this way. And the reason that we want to do half and half is we are trying to build a square. So my lengths need to be the same going horizontally and vertically. So I could stack up half of my 19, and that's going to be my 9.5 going this way. And I'm just going to write that as a minus 9.5x, right? And I'm going to put the other half here, minus 9.5x. Well, this doesn't quite build a square because I don't have the whole thing filled in. I've got this little section right here that is missing, so I don't know. That's the value that I need in order to complete the square. Well, if I think about this as an area model, I have an x and an x here. For multiplying by x squared, and then I have a negative 9.5 here and a negative 9.5 here, because x times negative 9.5 is this. So to get this number, to get what is in there, I need to do negative 9.5 times negative 9.5. And that gets me the same value of a 90.25. That is the number that completes the square. So my C value here is 90.25. Whether I think about this problem conceptually and quite literally, build a square, right? Or I just use my standard algorithm, which is take half of the p-value and square it, I'm going to get the same value. Both times I'll get 90.25. So it's nice when the numbers are even, but even when they are odd, we get decimals, it's still going to work out pretty straightforward. Just use a calculator. Got any questions? Message me anytime.